Snapchat, TikTok, Instagram. Social media apps that were designed to connect people and foster community have instead led to excessive screen time, addictive scrolling, depression, or far worse.
Today is a big moment for our country because today I can announce that the government will ban access to social media for all children under the age of 16.
Rare applause for an embattled Keir Starmer, who said he was convinced only a full ban would ensure the safety of young teenagers in the face of tech giants who designed their apps to be deliberately addictive.
Some technology companies want us to think that social media is unchangeable, part of an almost natural order. But we have to resist that kind of learned helplessness. We have agency. We can change it. And we will.
That'd be good, that'd be good.
The UK is mirroring its ban on Australia's, though research shows that more than 60% of teenagers there have used technology like virtual private networks or VPNs to circumvent the ban. So won't they just do the same here?
Kids, as we've seen in Australia, will simply find a way round the ban unless you ban things like VPNs as well.
I think we'll be better at enforcing it, actually having learned from the Australian model. But I'm not prepared to say that because some children may try to get around it and some may get around it, that is not a good reason to take the act of banning. I just don't accept that.
The ban will cover 10 platforms, including Snapchat, TikTok and YouTube, but messaging apps like WhatsApp and Signal will not be included. And there'll be further blocks on harmful features like live streaming and the ability for strangers to communicate with children online, including on gaming sites. The government is also considering overnight curfews and forced breaks in infinite scrolling for under 18s, with more detail to come on that in July. It says it expects Parliament to vote on the ban by Christmas and for the new rules to come into effect by spring next year. The Molly Rose Foundation, named after Molly Russell, who took her own life after incessantly viewing harmful social media, said the ban wouldn't work because it doesn't force the tech companies to make changes to the underlying addictive technology.
There is no plan to tackle the harmful algorithms that mean 1 in 2 teenage girls continue to see the suicide, self-harm and depression content every week that Molly saw and that contributed to her death 8 years ago. And that is appalling.
At this boys' high school in West London, the deputy head says a ban may be a blunt instrument, but the need is too urgent to do nothing.
Look, we've been appeasing young people. We think we've been appeasing them for a long time. We've got, a 13-year-old saying, oh, Mum, I want a mobile because all my friends have got one and I won't be able to socialise if I don't get one. And we've just given it to them. We need to row back. So if that means starting blunt, start blunt, then make adjustments.
We spoke to a group of 15-year-olds there who all use social media, but some, like James, admit the ban could actually help them.
I would benefit a lot from the social media ban because I find myself aimlessly scrolling a lot as well.
What about your mental health? Do you ever feel it? Do you ever feel you're just sucked in and you're
it can negatively impact me and affect my social life because sometimes I would get invited out to do something with friends and then I would say, oh, I'm busy, and then just spend my time at home scrolling, wasting the day.
I feel like, especially within TikTok and Snapchat, you can easily get added into groups and stuff, and then the people who are within those groups have malicious intentions and they may send stuff that is pretty graphic and explicit.
If I'm at night at 11 p.m. and it's 11:01, I'll only go until 11:15. But once I reached 11:16, I'm like, fine, I'll stay until 11:30, and I'm caught in that cycle until about 12 o'clock, maybe in 1 a.m. just on my phone. So I feel like the software is designed to make you make those decisions, which is leading to mental health issues.
Tech UK, that represents the social media firms, says they share the government's goal of keeping children safe online, but warns a ban is a rush to action, with major questions around implementation and enforcement left unanswered. The government says today is about giving children their childhood back. But will an outright ban be the game changer they're promising, or will it ultimately fall short?
Well, earlier I spoke to some more of those who will be affected by the ban, losing their access to social media. 14 and 15-year-olds Sienna, Ishil and Ivory. They're pupils at Oasis Academy in Enfield, and I began by asking them for their reaction.
I see it from the government's perspective, and I think that social media is a part of teens acting the way they do, but then again, it's not safe outside, especially with knife crimes and stealing and all of that. I genuinely think they should have, instead of banning the social media, they should have introduced more restrictions, because personally, there needs to be more responsibility put onto the adults as well. Because think about it, the children aren't the main reason why there's inappropriate stuff on social media.
Sienna, what do you think about this being taken away from you?
I think it's going to be very hard for everyone to accept the fact that we're not allowed it anymore. Because we've grown up with social media, we won't really know what to do without it.
Really?
I think so, because we're so reliant on it. We use it for everything. Say we don't know a simple task, we'll go search on TikTok, how do you do this, how do you do that? And say we have homework, how do you work out this, how do you do that? We just use it for everything, and it will be kind of hard to move away from it and find an alternative.
And how about you, Ishil? What do you think?
When I first heard about the ban, I was really shocked. The ban was supposed to be for us, but in that moment when I first saw it, I felt like the government wasn't on my side. They didn't care, because it was my generation, people that I know who are going to go through it. But we weren't being spoken to, we weren't being asked hey, is social media actually a really bad thing, or do we just think it's a bad thing? And I think because me and so many other people love social media, we think that it's a community, it's the only escape that we have from our pretty much unsafe areas. It's going to be so weird that they take it away from us.
Mm-hmm.
What about the different platforms? Which is the one you're going to miss the most?
TikTok, definitely.
Really?
Because with Snapchat, I only use it to communicate with my friends. My location isn't on and my block list is full, so I don't really interact with anyone that's dangerous or anything like that. So having it being taken away, it just cuts short my communication with my friends.
Do you recognise that there is a bad side to social media?
Yes.
But I mean, what a lot of experts and head teachers and parents say is that the thing that social media really does is, particularly in girls, is it exacerbates anxiety. Do you see that?
Yes, that's why you have to surround yourself with positive things. I block a lot of things that I don't like.
What about the platforms themselves, though? I mean, do you think
they
should
do something?
Yeah, they need to get on and take more responsibility, because
to do what?
You're allowing your platform to be put let's say, for example, you're allowing blood and gruesome stuff to be posted on your platform when you have all these guidelines and rules, but you're not following it yourself. If it is definitely happening, instead of more restrictions, then the government also needs to do something about knife crimes and being able to go outside, socialise, more youth clubs, more after school. Because normally, back in the olden days, I said there were definitely more extracurricular activities, and it was definitely cheaper, but these days we can't afford everything. And
I mean, I find it quite shocking that you say you can't go outside.
It's not safe.
It's so dangerous.
My mum doesn't trust me, not because she doesn't trust me. The people around.
The people in our area, there's just...
Even as a group,
parks,
in the daytime, at 4 o'clock in the afternoon?
Parks.
Yeah. And without social media, how are you supposed to know that there's dangers outside in your local area? You just go out,
Yeah,
aimlessly.
I remember a couple of years ago on TikTok, there was a warning of a guy that was throwing acid on people, and TikTok was a way that the information got spread about the dangers of actually being outside.
But one of the things, the politicians are particularly concerned about is doom scrolling. It's just the endless staring at TikTok videos going by, and the amount of time that you waste staring at those things when you could be doing something else.
If you're going to go against doom scrolling, then I'm sure there's many other things that you could have not done in that day. You could restrict, but why is it that we as children always have to take the blame for something that is not really in our control?
And do you think, Ishil, that your friends, I won't say you, will do everything you can to get around this?
Probably. Like, just think about it. Did it work in Australia? Not really. And also,
And America.
In America.
yeah, and in America, the TikTok ban did not work.
It lasted a couple hours in America.
And what do you think people will do to get around it?
VPNs, and also if all of the people online on that, let's say TikTok, they all think children are gone, but then these children find a way around it, which they probably will. They're coming back onto this app and they see all this harmful content because everyone thinks children are gone. Wouldn't that lead the children to be in even more harm?
Okay, finally, for all three of you, you're in charge, you're the Prime Minister. What would you do about this problem?
It is a widespread problem, so definitely more restrictions. And I say if we have the chances and the choice to actually decide what's better for ourselves, there could be like a little vote between actual young people that understand both sides of the story.
I think there should just be certain restrictions for however old you are. Just because taking it away fully just isn't very fair for the people that use it correctly.
I would introduce a lot more restrictions and moderation on content, because I think the moderators, especially on TikTok, are letting a lot of things slide that they probably shouldn't. And I'm sure they know that it's wrong. That's not anything that we've done wrong. It's not that we're misusing the app. I think it's just the moderators are just not doing what they can.
Ivory, Sienna, Ishil, thank you all very much indeed.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Joining me now are Liam Walsh, who believes his daughter Maya took her own life as a result of social media, Joe Ryrie from the campaign group Smartphone Free Childhood, and Donia Soni Clark from Tech UK, which represents most of the big tech companies. Thank you all for coming in. Liam, let me begin with you. I mean, it must be a very emotional day today.
Yeah, it is.
What was your reaction to the announcement?
I could barely believe it. I just had this cynical point of view that it wouldn't go as positively as it has done today. So I'm delighted with the announcement, and I just walked away from it thinking I can't recall another time where a Prime Minister's had a round of applause at the end of a message. So it's good. It's a step in the right direction for a lot of people.
Can you explain why you think it's the right thing to do? Because there are other parents who have similarly suffered, like you, who are saying it's the wrong way to go.
I don't think there's a right direction. The end result is improved child safety for children and for parents like me, not to be in a position like me as a bereaved parent. So I actually agree with as many approaches as possible to get to the end goal. So
do you think this is the beginning?
Yes.
Or what else do you think they should be looking at?
I think it will be a rocky road ahead, and things will no doubt need to be amended and adapted to hone it in to become a much better example than the Australian example. So I'm trying to figure out what ++ means at a minute. Maybe you can tell me.
Yeah. Joe, why do you want to go further?
Go further than what?
Than a ban. I mean, you want to ban the phones.
Oh, no, we don't want to ban the phones. That's not what we're about at all. The name might be slightly deceptive. What we do think is that smartphones and social media have fundamentally reshaped childhood over the last decade. And parents in their homes and schools all over the country have been struggling with this issue. And it's obviously there are people who've suffered the worst possible harms, like Liam and many other bereaved parents, but actually parents all across the country are struggling with the everyday harms of smartphones and social media, because kids are coming across all sorts of things that we know they shouldn't come across. But arguably even more importantly, it's swallowing up childhood. Kids are spending up to 5, 6, 7 hours a day on smartphones, most of that time on social media, and no one really wants that for their children. So we really welcome today's announcement. It's not the final answer. We know this is just a step forward, but we had to have a reset. The current regulatory system hadn't worked, and so we're delighted, and I think parents across the country are delighted.
So what do you want? What does smartphone-free childhood mean?
Smartphone-free childhood, we're a movement all about delaying smartphones. So we have over 400,000 parents in the UK and communities all across the country who have banded together to agree to delay smartphones and social media in their own communities. We didn't start out to do politics at all. We've been deeply involved in this political process because there are so many parents that care so passionately about this. But we have a thing called the Parent Pact, and it's parents who are coming together to agree to delay getting smartphones and social media for their own children, because this whole thing is a collective action problem. If you're the only child in your class who doesn't have a smartphone or social media, then that's almost impossible for a parent to withhold that, to sort of stand your ground. So what we're hoping is that this announcement today helps with that collective action problem. It means that suddenly parents have a line to draw in the sand. And even though, yes, we know some children might get around these restrictions, now children know that social media is not appropriate for under 16s. Parents know, schools know, and that means that it's easier for everyone and the peer pressure will start to reduce.
Is there any evidence yet that being smartphone free is better for you? You know, has there been any of the studies? I kind of think, you know, we all see it in our own families. You know, my kids had access to everything and there were no restrictions. The kids who are a bit younger are doing precisely what, you know, your movement are doing and not having access to devices. Is there any evidence that they are happier, you know, suffering less anxiety?
Well, it's very early days, isn't it? This is a relatively new movement, a relatively new phenomenon. Even smartphones and social media, smartphones have only been around for 15 years, modern social media platforms for 10, 12 years. And so this is all incredibly new. And I think the evidence is there that kids who get smartphones younger have worse mental health outcomes, and also they spend less time doing the kind of things that we all want them to do in childhood. Less time reading, less time playing, less time communicating with friends, and more time on their own scrolling. And so that's pretty conclusive to most people that that's not something that we want for childhood.
Donnie, I mean, are your members united in their reaction, or do they all have different views?
They are fairly, excuse me, they are fairly united in their reaction, in that the message that Tech UK and its members have put out, that we don't think that a ban will work in the way that the Prime Minister wants it to work.
Why not?
There's a few reasons. Number one is that there is lack of coherency, and we're unsure about whether or not there will be adequate age assurance being put in place, and that needs to work. We know that the Tech Secretary has spoken to Ofcom about that, and we're looking forward to see what the outcome of that is, because as you said, in Australia there's a lot of circumvention of it. So what processes will be put in place to stop that circumvention?
But your members could just do that, couldn't they?
Well,
if they actually wanted to make the ban work, they could make it work. If they want to resist it, they can.
They can, but in the sense of it really depends on the age assurance, because at the moment, the way that you would verify someone is 16 or under. They don't have forms of ID in the same way adults have. They don't have passports in the same ways adults have, not always. So the current system is around facial analysis, which can be circumvented. So what are the sort of metrics that we will need to do to ensure that age assurance is done correctly? Because people can circumvent that facial assurance, and actually that's what we need to get right if that is the route that Ofcom wants to go down. Secondly, it's around how we ensure that, if children are circumventing the ban, that they feel like they can still speak to their parents about what they're seeing. Because if, for instance, you're not allowed to go on social media, but you have found a way to go on social media, whether that's through VPN, whether that's using a shared device, a family device, whether a sibling has set up an account for you, that a child would feel comfortable enough to go to their parents, their peers, their teachers to say, I saw this and I'm not happy about it.
Liam, what do you make of the industry's response?
They could have done more, a lot sooner. We wouldn't be in this position if they had been transparent in the first place with the data that had been viewed by deceased children. The groups that I'm involved in, the Molly Rose Foundation and Ellen Room, we wouldn't have pushed this as far as we have pushed this if it wasn't through an act of desperation to get to the truth as to what it was that was being shown to our children prior to their deaths.